Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff podcast. My name is Colin.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm also Josh.
A galaxy divided. No, I'm just kidding. No. This was a very nice kind of vacation episode. That kind of takes a turn. It felt like Indiana Jones mixed in with the movie 2012. Because of because it kind of felt like they're on vacation, they're having a good time, and then all of a sudden something bad happens. But overall, I thought this episode was necessary, and it was fun. I thought it was great to kind of see like the group just kind of chilling, hang back. How about you guys?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to like. I think this is the first time we've really seen the batch relax, at least this season, if not probably like the whole series.
You got a little bit of Kashyyyk.
Yeah, yep. But it was cool to see him chill out, and they took their guards down a little bit, and what they talked about at the beginning there was a little more vulnerable and gave us some cool insight into where they are at headspace wise and what they're thinking about where they should be in the galaxy.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, no, I think of just seeing Omega actually interact with someone her age was great too. I thought that was great.
Yeah. No, it's been a good distance of time since we've seen that. I mean, like we've had like occasional episodes where Omega is with someone her age, and then the batch is like, "Oh, she hasn't acted like a kid in ages," and so it's nice to kind of see the progression and see the opening for Omega for that. I also just really enjoyed that, like when we first got the colors for the batch, everyone was like, "Oh, it's very tropical colors with all the teal and the orange and like all those things," and then we just got a whole island life episode. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. But more importantly, we cannot forget the great opening of this episode, and this is probably Hunter's favorite part right here.
It was my favorite part of the episode.
And I'm just gonna have this shot right here because so over the white sign that in Arabic that says Club Lao Shi, and we know that was the main villain of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in the beginning of the episode, and there were a lot of Indiana Jones references in like the first 2 minutes. Now Hunter says that any film he says that any film can just just kind of have that opening like, oh yeah, well Indiana Jones isn't the only film that has someone get poisoned or have a fight in a bar or stuff. Well, I say this is a clear shout out to Indiana Jones.
And I will say the same thing I just said to you earlier. It is an Indiana Jones reference, not because someone was poisoned in a bar, but because someone was poisoned in a bar that was named after an Indiana Jones character with all the other stuff.
Hunter, I think we should just need to like sit back and let Colin vent for a bit, and then we'll just like re-enter with a Bad Batch episode.
I did that about droids last week. Colin, just let it out, man.
Okay, all right, dibs on the fixer rant though when he comes in later.
Okay, all right. So the the opening of this episode, is very reminiscent to Indiana Jones: The Temple of Doom. In the bar, they are having a exchange of an artifact that they promised to these bad guys, and these bad guys would give them something in return. Did that happen in Temple of Doom? Yes, it did. Now, continuing from that, they also tried to poison Fee, and her being smarter than Indiana Jones in the situation, she caught on to that pretty quick. And that, right? See,
Wait, Colin, did you just say Indiana Jones is stupid?
Dude, don't.
I didn't say Indiana Jones is stupid. I did not say those exact words. What I said was that in this situation, Fee definitely picked up on the whole poison gag quicker than Indy did.
I really expected us to get a like Princess Bride scenario reference almost with like the poison being like unable to be smelled or something like that, like an
Yeah.
odorless like iocane powder. But
Right.
you know, she proved that Indiana Jones is dumb.
Okay. So we're gonna have Josh come back in a bit, and I'm just kidding.
I love Indiana Jones. I'm just gonna be trouble.
Yeah, no, the whole thing was great. I loved it. They were again, as being as a big fan of Indiana Jones, it was great to see that whole scene just reminiscent of the opening of Temple of Doom. Things don't go great, and we also see the small poison bug that we saw in Attack of the Clones.
And we saw how it actually poisons now.
Yes.
Which was fun.
But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because Hunter, not this Hunter we're talking to, but the Hunter in the show grabs a dagger, throws it, kills it, and then the action begins. And it was just, chaos all over the place. And then they had to escape out of the club. You had other Indiana Jones reference, by the way, not Temple of Doom, but Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Jock the pilot, right? He was fishing, on his plane, and he was doing something, trying to pass the time. Tech was playing like a solitaire type game,
Colin,
waiting for him to get called.
And as we all know, solitaire is exactly the same as fishing.
And as we all know, there's no such thing as a distracted person when they're left behind on a mission to pick them up later. There's no such thing. Like, that's never happened in Baby Driver. That's never happened ever.
You're right, but Indiana Jones came out before Baby Driver. Just saying. Anyways,
I admire you so much, Colin.
Thank you. So then Tech, he gets the call. He's like, okay, I'm going to be there. They hop in the ship. Blaster fire's going all over the place, and then they escape the planet. That scene was great for me. Indiana Jones hat coming off because those are the only Indiana Jones references that I could find. Okay, so after that, we then get this kind of speech from Fee of saying, there's more to life than just this. Have you ever thought of teaching, Omega, different skills? And Tech kind of gets offended. He's like, what other skills does she need to know? And then she's like, well, hanging out with people with her own age. And he was like, oh. And then
she doesn't do that.
Right, exactly. And then we get a distress call. Well, not a distress call, a angry phone call from Sid, and it turns out that they have ghosted her for 20 rotations. And I'm not sure if it was kind of obvious, but when she was talking, her voice would lag out and it would get deep, and you could hear the evil in her voice. How do we feel about, I think we all saw Sid kind of turning. She hasn't done it officially yet, but
again, like I said last week, I know we don't swear on this show, but I'd like to swear when describing Sid.
Wait. Just what swear word?
Type it in chat.
Well, just keep going.
Okay.
She just, it almost sucks because we started to get episodes where you could tell the batch was being a little more vulnerable to her. And honestly, she did that in return. And then it got to a point where she reached saturation level for how close the batch could be to her or whatever. But then it went just strictly back to business. And it's not that that's the only thing that pointed to her seeming like she's gonna betray him, but it's still just I'm ready for them to ditch her,
I think something Fee said might benefit them in the future if they think about it, which is she said that she's known Sid for a long time, and she's very keen on her word, And honestly, I think that if the Bad Batch just do one last mission for her, close it off, and then go from there, I think that would be, great. Because right now they're kind of crossing her by not returning that call. And that's really ticking her off.
I mean, I don't see that actually happening, though. I agree with you that would fix it, but it seems to me, at least at this point in the season, Sid is going to turn on them, and then that's going to be how the batch gets drawn out back to Mount Tantus. And then
that's how Scorch finds the batch is Sid.
Honestly, I'm sorry.
No, really quick. I was more amazed that we got that break of them ghosting Sid for 20 rotations off screen. Like, that's something I was honestly kind of surprised about, because that kind of leaves it to be, we know that there's going to be a more on-screen confrontation of how that relationship ends or how it continues in a new light. But I kind of enjoyed that they kind of just didn't feel the need to deal with that on screen and kind of clutter an episode with some extra stuff that didn't really need to be there, and they just had to be there open. They've done a lot of the batch's relationship with Sid off screen, and we kind of just see how it works in their relationship and how they act during episodes, and I've kind of enjoyed that this season. At least I feel like they handled the relationship with Sid better this season than last season.
I agree. I think that Sid will have some type of redemption, though, at some point. If it doesn't happen this season, it's going to happen the next season. They'll definitely talk about season 3 in some way at Star Wars Celebration
for sure
this year. They're doing the lottery system again, by the way.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
We just signed up for our panels, so
is it exactly the same as it has been?
Are they live streaming panels this year?
They are, yes, but they're not gonna show all the exclusive stuff. So
that's
if
fine,
you're there,
but I don't care about seeing the trailers. I just want to see the discussions that are there.
Yes, I agree.
I want to see them name drop Republic Commando.
It's more interesting.
And hear Vodayon play on the loudspeakers.
As soon as they say Delta Squad, like during the Bad Batch panel, then that's when Josh is like, "All right, I'm out," and then he's like, "I heard it. They're done. I can close it."
You can ask Riley. We went and saw the Bad Batch panel at last Celebration, and we were in like Twin Suns room or whatever, and they named dropped Republic Commando, and I just like screamed out in joy, and everyone looked at me because the only guy knows. And Riley just goes, he likes the game a lot.
She's right.
I mean, yeah, fair.
And if you haven't heard his wonderful voice, Christian has returned.
Hi, how is everyone tonight?
Good. So you just missed like the first 10 minutes of me doing my Indiana Jones, breakdown.
Boy, here we go again.
Embarrassing. All right, here we go again. So no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but yeah, no. Yeah. So they are talking to Fee, and Fee's like, "Okay, I've got a planet for you. Here are the coordinates. Go to him." And they go to Pabu, and it's this island planet. The island is massive. I was surprised by the size of it. And they land, and she kind of explains, a lot of the people that are living on this planet and that are in this on this island are refugees from the war, and then the big building that's kind of like on the top is a museum that has a lot of artifacts from across the galaxy. And if you think about it, Fee is kind of like the Indiana Jones of Star Wars, and she brings these artifacts back to the area because it belongs in a museum.
Okay, can we actually seriously talk about Fee for a second?
No.
Go for it.
At the beginning of the season, with the first archaeology adventure episode that we saw, with the big Zepho looking thing, we hadn't gotten any background on her at all. She was just kind of there. And immediately when this episode opened, I kind of just defaulted to those same vibes. Like, oh, really? They're bringing her back this late in the game after not touching her for however many episodes and no like other backstory and stuff. But the way she like really opened up about the Batch's situation and invited them to Pabu, and like I don't know if deep is the right word, but the relevant, like thought-provoking conversations she had with the Batch about their situation, for me, really turned around like how I thought about her.
I think she's a great vessel for a good relationship of a freelancer with Sid for the Batch to see. Because in the Batch's whole mercenary life, they've been so attached to Sid, but she's kind of on her own. She does what she thinks is best. She has her own moral code of liberating antiquities and whatever that means to her. But her character and what she represents is turning to be a very important thing for the Batch as they're trying to become more free and more independent.
Yeah.
I think it's especially important considering that that artifact they retrieve at the very beginning, they talk about it not being incredibly valuable in terms of its actual material, but just like, but it matters to the people that it matters to.
Yes. Yeah. I really enjoyed also that when they do meet the mayor that's in charge of the whole island and everything, they also talk about how they're all very close and they're pretty much like family. And I think that's how the Bad Batch really connected to the people there like so quick. And they're like, oh, okay. So they're kind of like us, but they're, a larger group. And we see them, go to a very nice dinner, which I know Josh was just talking about this, but it made him hungry for
I'd
sushi.
be okay buying that food.
I almost went to Safeway to pick up some sushi.
That looks good.
Yeah,
exactly. And then I realized I'm landlocked, and I was like, it's probably not going to be good sushi.
And then we see these monkey type creatures called Muños, and they are native. They have been native to the island for as long as people can remember, and that actually that actually is important later, which we'll talk about. But they just talk about how peaceful it is to be on the island. And I think this whole episode was just kind of showing the group that, there's talks of, hey, there's definitely a life outside of, all this adventure and on the run and stuff. But honestly, here it is right here. You honestly could have a life outside of that right here. And you can come and go as you please. But if you want peace, this is where it's at. And they also talk about, well, what happens if the Empire, comes out and attacks, and the mayor is just like, well, if they do, we'll be ready for him, but most likely they won't come out here. What kind of weapon system or what kind of defense do you think that they have against the Empire?
That's exactly what I was wondering about when he was like, will we ready for him? It's like, will we prepared enough to combat them? Like, in what way?
They're all Jedi.
To me, that seems more of like a, not necessarily like we'll be prepared physically.
Yeah.
But it was like a we'll survive just because that's what we do.
It wasn't a we will be prepared in terms of armament. It's just if it happens, it happens. We can deal.
Yep.
But they're not going to come out here because there's nothing for it out here. It's not worth it for set up a garrison here.
It was a very like island life kind of mentality to go about it. Like it happens, we'll deal with it, we'll grow from it, and we'll go past it.
My inner anime fan was very happy that the Bad Batch got their beach arc episode.
Scare of beach party. Oh, if you haven't watched the Lego Summer Vacation special, go watch it, because at one point there's Ghost Anakin scuba gear, and he's just swimming through the water, and he's a ghost, and it's like, why? It's funny.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah, and then the two kids go out on a boat, and they see the sunset, and we're like, wow, this is just nice. And Omega says a line which really, again, puts her childhood in perspective, which she's like, I lived on the ocean my entire life, but I never felt like this. And she's having this feeling of having fun and relaxing. She has been working her entire life. She has been on the run for some of her life, and now she just is hanging out with a friend and on a boat and watching the sunset. What could possibly go wrong? And
Everything.
And we find
Absolutely
out
everything.
shortly after, because there ends up being a tremor, and then Tech, does his calculations. Which, by the way, Tech made a joke. I'm not sure if anyone caught on that, but when
Tech has a girl.
Yeah. Well.
Yes.
Well, yes. Yeah. So
Can we just divert a little bit into the first Bad Batch member to have relationship tension? Is Tech.
So Tech has a girlfriend, it sounds like, and then also he made a joke, which I don't know if he was saying as a joke, he meant it for real, but it came off as a joke, which was when Wrecker was like, "Oh, I'm full," and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna log this so we have this for the future," and I'm like, "Oh, okay,"
because Wrecker's like, "This has never happened before," and he's like, "He'll make a note of it."
Yeah, but we have the tremor happen. The mayor's like, "Oh, it's fine," and then Tech's like, "No, it's not," and then it happens again, and then the mayor's like, "Well, if it was going to be bad, we would hear alarms going off, and like 2 seconds later, the alarm goes off, and they go, no, something's going down," and of course, we have a tsunami, and everyone has to run for their lives. People are panicking. We then see the space monkeys, the Munoz. I'm sorry, I'm tired, guys.
That's what they are.
Yeah. So they then see the space monkeys just crawl up the mountain, and they've been on the island for so long, so they know how to deal with this type of situation. So all the people follow them. They're going up, and Omega and her friend are on the boat. It's going into the island. They can't move because of the tsunami. The water is bad. I'm not a scientist, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go. But
we're missing the scientist on the group today.
So
we had tsunami warnings in California. I can talk about it later.
Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but shoot. Anyways,
awesome. So, I'm glad that happened to you, Christian.
The water is not letting the boat move in the way they want it to. They have to jump off the boat, and the boat hits the water. I mean, the boat hits the island. It doesn't break or anything. They start running, and then oh my gosh, Hunter goes all the way up to the mountain. He then hops in the ship, goes over, picks them up. Wrecker then picks up an old man, and they're just all just running up that mountain, getting up there. How do we feel about the wall where they had the ladders?
To jump back really, really quick.
Yeah, please do.
When the tremors first happened, what did you guys think that they were? Because I was halfway between earthquake and this is the Empire. This is going to be the, Scorch and whatever Republic commandos also appeared. I wondered if they're going to jump into the plot really heavily at that moment. I thought that was going to be really odd if they did. So it's like a very small chance of it being the Empire appearing. But especially right after the conversation of, what do you think if the Empire comes here? It's like, that'd be really funny if the Empire just appeared in a Star Destroyer just appears overhead.
We're at your front door.
Were just a low rumble. And I almost thought, and because they were stopping and listening, and I was like, oh, is that the drives of a Star Destroyer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it was so heavily leaning on that island life vibe, I immediately went either volcano or earthquake.
Volcano too.
Yeah.
Volcano.
Because I figured it would be the ultimate, like, because either it's an earthquake, which results in some degree of collapse or a tsunami, or turns out that mountain they built that sanctuary on top of is a volcano.
Yeah.
Oops.
Which, I mean, it's an island in the middle of an ocean. Likeliness holds that
there is some
would be a
volcanic
volcano.
activity somewhere.
Yeah. But, I mean, also, like, just as a side, Omega commenting on her life being surrounded by ocean, and she never felt this way about it.
Oh.
I never even considered that. Like, when they were like, oh, the Batch might live here, I was like, oh, that, like, tropical, they have teal in their armor now, like, that works. But I never
Yeah.
considered, like, the parallels of the island life to Camino, of this place being almost a more natural and holistic Camino in the arcs of living on the island, living from the island, as opposed to these metal structures that are built solely for cloning,
Right, and
surrounded by water.
Camino is not just all metal, it's also entirely sterile.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a lived-in natural world. Things happen, you just deal with it when it does.
Yeah, there was mossy rocks. There wasn't like clean white, bright fluorescent lights on like every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see that dynamic and to also to hear it from Omega specifically, because I don't think it'd fit if the dialogue came from the rest of the batch.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did anyone feel like Hunter sounded a little weird this week? Not Hunter, Bad Batch character, animated Hunter.
Got it. Okay.
Like the voice of Hunter.
I was gonna say, dude, I think his Wi-Fi is doing great.
No, like
Don't
like
fix it.
the Hunter's voice in this episode sounded a little off on some lines, and I can't tell if that's meant to signify like him relaxing, or if that's just, you know, D jumping between so many voices. Some things get like a little bit.
Or
on the
maybe it's
drop
not
off.
Hunter. Maybe it's Hunter's clone.
I took it as him relaxing.
I figured because he normally has that like gravelly growl, and he's always on edge. And this is the first time where he hasn't been immediately like the second something happens, where he's just like gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. He did sound off this week though. Like he sounded
like,
different.
I agree, and like especially the main time I noticed it was when Omega asked if she should go out on the boat with the mayor's daughter.
Yeah,
and to me, like it was different then because he was so at ease, which is super, super out of character for him. But as soon as the earthquake happens and they all get up and Hunter just snaps back into it and starts delegating tasks to people, it sounded normal again.
Yeah, it sounded like normal Hunter. That's a good point. I noticed it most. He was like, "Aren't you worried about the Empire fighting this place?" Like that, like long sentence he had. I was like, that cadence sounds very different from the Hunter that we've heard for.
It's a very relaxed cadence where he's normally super short, choppy, almost like monosyllabic wording.
Yeah, a very. I don't know what that word means, but okay. I don't know what fancy words you're trying to use here, man.
What one sound words? Yes, no, maybe.
Gotcha.
Maybe it's two.
Okay.
But yeah.
But we have them go up the mountain, and we see that Hunter saves the girls. They're fine. And when that's happening, Tech and his girlfriend Fee are trying to get the ladders out of the wall. They were all rusty and everything, which means they haven't been used in a long time. I like their chemistry. How do we feel about their chemistry?
I'm still amazed it's Tech. Like Tech is the first one to have like a female like interest relationship.
Yeah.
And Tech.
I made this joke with Hunter earlier in the season in a private message where I was joking about how Fee calls Tech Brown Eyes.
Yeah.
And we know that Din Djarin is all called Brown Eyes in season 2 of The Mandalorian. And I went, God, so Brown Eyes is now the Star Wars in-universe like shorthand for Hey Hottie.
Now,
regardless of eye color.
Well, dude, that's crazy because I also have.
Has historical significance, Hunter.
Yeah, we don't go there, Hunter.
All right. Well, they end up getting the ladder down, off of the wall, and they a majority of the people start going up the ladder. The group end up meeting up there. It looks like most of the people are safe. They watch as the tsunami hits the island, and then it slowly kind of takes some of the pieces of the houses and everything, and we know they have to rebuild. And at the end of the episode, the Bad Batch agree to stay for a bit and help and rebuild the community, and then we have it fade to black.
Which is a time jump before the next episode. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that. I'm excited for what the name of the episode is. I'm excited for the time jump going into it.
Yeah.
It gives time for the Batch to relax, time for Scorch to find him.
I'm telling you, I know the exact plot. You ready? Fee and Tech are going to have their wedding. It's going to be a whole episode.
Shotgun.
Yep. And
Shit.
all of the clones are coming to that wedding, and then the next episode will end up being the invasion, and that's when they form the Clone Rebellion, and it's because
That's
they
the
were all at the wedding at the
reception.
same.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think Wrecker is the most likely to shotgun wedding out of all the Batch members.
Yeah.
No, but now here's the important question: who will be Tech's best man? There you go. I'm just kidding. Anyways,
Himself. He plays
I vote Gonky.
games with himself, so he's going to be his own best man.
It's going to be a little computer.
yeah.
Donkey.
Oh man. But yeah, I thought this episode overall was great. It definitely carried on the tradition of ending an adventure as another one is beginning, and it also kind of showed the calm side of the Bad Batch, and they got to see, the possibility of not living on the run and not owing anyone anything and just being themselves with a community that accepts them and appreciates them. And I honestly think that's a huge deal. And I think it's building this community up because I got a feeling that something bad might happen to them in the next episode or before the finale. But overall, I thought the episode was great. How about you guys? Good? Yeah?
I really enjoyed the episode. I just hope that the next one gets back into very story forward.
Yes.
I think this was one of the better quote unquote filler episodes where it wasn't
Agreed.
very story heavy, but it also had very important significance to the growth of the Batch's character arcs as the season
Agreed.
goes on.
It was super character development heavy.
Yes, and the character, and I honestly, huge props to the Bad Batch for feeling very like Sunday morning cartoon, or however you want to say it, for like having very episodic storytelling. But the episodic storytelling that's very heavy on characters like this week has really what's been driving the show. Like the Crosshair episodes, the mid-season finale, the first two, this one. I feel like they're the most important ones for like getting us in the psyche of the Batch and seeing their evolution, especially from season 1, where they continuously wore their Republic era armor well past they were having issues with the Empire. So we're seeing that growth, and I did enjoy that. I mean, if we're open to talking about Mando, I think Bad Batch has continuously outshined Mando week after week so far, and that's my personal opinion.
Well, it's still early in the game for The Mandalorian.
That's true. I don't want to say the Mandalorian's hopped off. I'm expecting, of course, as things pick up later in the season, it'll get better. But honestly, like all 3 weeks that they've been co-releasing,
Yeah.
I found Bad Batch to be a continuously better episode than Mandalorian, just
Okay.
regularly.
This week, I think that flipped for me.
Okay.
I would have said.
Are you
last
biased
week-
to the droids?
If I was biased to the droids, I was geeking out enough about R5 last week that last week would have been better.
True point.
So speaking of Mandalorian, I know don't worry, we won't do another breakdown. If you want to check out that breakdown of the new episode of The Mandalorian, it is out on all podcast streaming platforms. But there's something I did want. There's a couple of things that I think we all wanted to talk about, which was for that episode, there were a lot of different Easter eggs. Something that I wanted to bring up, which was right here, was this shot. If you look at the Mandalorian on the right, we were having the argument. He's there right next to Paz. That's a sand trooper leg, right?
Or just a
Well,
stormtrooper that's heavily
Dirty
weathered.
stormtrooper.
Or a stormtrooper.
Or
Okay,
a
good.
remnant
Okay.
stormtrooper. Like, there's so many different ways. That is the least like efficient armor you could possibly have.
Oh yeah.
The
Well-
only way I would have seen that armor making sense is if that guy was very heavily armored on that side of his body. So that would be
Yeah.
his presenting case, but it's not. So
I mean, he can't even sit on one half of his body.
That's not true. He doesn't have the same cod piece, so he can actually sit down.
no butt
It
plate.
looks like he has enough gap above his thigh that he
Yeah.
should be good.
Yeah, he's
As a
fine.
non-stormtrooper owner wearer, I'd like to say that personally, in my head, even if you put on a shin piece of stormtrooper armor, you're unable to sit down. It just comes with the
Listen,
territory.
it's been done. It's not impossible. Is it comfortable? No. Do they make it look like it's fun in all the, live action series where we see stormtroopers sit down? Sure. But it is a very hard thing to do.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason why Han in Disguise in A New Hope is reclined in the chair
Yes.
with his
Yeah.
most of his butt. Not
He's
his
like,
feet.
oh yeah, because he sits down. He's like, where did you dig up that old fossil? And you can see
Harrison
him like
Ford
adjusting his
cannot
seat
be
when he's doing that.
bothered.
But yeah, no, I thought the new episode was great. I think one of my favorite parts, which was probably the one where I just kind of jumped out of my seat because it was like, oh, this is great. This is a great opening shot to Coruscant, which was the Opera House, where
Yes,
we
Yeah.
heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. And that was just an awesome thing to go back into. We know it's not an opera house anymore, which is lame. But I thought that was a great callback. And we just we hear them talk about Camino and stuff like that, which I thought was great. And then we go to this carnival setting, and we end up seeing like the
Lego Star
highest...
Wars locations.
Yeah, right. We then see like the highest peak like of Coruscant, which I thought this was kind of really cool lore. That I mean, because it's something that we really didn't know about the planet. How did we feel because if you listen closely in the background, you can actually hear the Resistance theme.
That is so strange to me.
Yeah, trust me,
Mhm.
I know, because
Yeah.
I hear it every day.
I was
So,
humming that to myself, and I was like,
yeah.
I
Wait a
know
minute.
this theme. Oh, that's what it is. Wait,
Yeah.
that's now like whatever the word is for music that actually occurs in universe.
Canon.
Right. Well,
We've heard the Imperial March
Right.
in a
Yeah.
major key during Solo, so we know that some music is actually quote
Yeah.
unquote within
Right.
universe.
so I didn't know if maybe that was some type of recruitment like type area where maybe they were trying to recruit people to the New Republic or something, and they like, I don't know, because if they did that for Solo, so that's why I was like, okay, maybe, because that would just be some random music just at the carnival and just dun 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 dun. I'm like, wait, what? No, why? But yeah, because I definitely caught on that right away. I'm like, why?
So
Yeah.
on the topic of music in that episode, the music that's playing right at the very end scene, that music is actually Star Wars lo-fi. And
Really?
it's the lo-fi Jabba the Hutt music from
No,
Return of the
what?
Jedi.
Oh, that's so cool.
If you go to the close, I think it's close on Sundays
Yeah.
live stream, and you
Yeah.
listen to the Jabba theme, it's almost the exact same theme minus the Jabba going ho 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 ho.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
I'm disappointed that they don't have Jabba going ho 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 ho.
Yeah. It's there in the back, and you hear like some of the Jabba growls. But if I listened to that, I was just like, wait a dang minute. I listened to this at work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like that. Yeah, it was nice to hear it though. It was nice to like hear that, and also like music wise, this whole season's been kind of odd. Like with not having Ludwig in, so we're not getting like.
I
mean-
love his music, so I'm bummed too.
I mean, like
Yeah,
season
I'm
2,
definitely
we got Din on a speeder going through Tatooine, and we got one of the best like musical themes, in my opinion, in the entire Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of stuck to just getting those themes recycled, which is nice. It's nice to still hear them, but part of me wondered if we still had Ludwig, like what would Bo's flying theme be?
I'm
And, like, all
curious
these other
of why he didn't do like. Was he working on Black Panther
I think Black
2 at
Panther
the
was
time?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost
Okay.
100%. He was dealing with Black Panther at the same time.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
all the music for Black Panther 2 got rewritten after Chadwick's death. Like all the stuff he'd originally written got scrapped.
yeah.
True. So he was probably redoing those here. Let me see
Yeah.
what. I can't look at like filming dates because that'd be separate from when he was actually working on it. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping he comes back for season 4. I would really love to hear some new songs within this quote unquote genre, rather than
agree.
just getting repeats from seasons 1 and 2.
Is it Michael Giacchino who did Solo?
Yes, but
Yes.
no. John Powell did Solo.
John Powell.
John Powell did How to Train Your Dragon, and a couple of
Michael did. Didn't he do Rogue One?
He did Rogue One.
He did Rogue One.
He also did the Batman and
Yeah.
Homecoming, and he's becoming
Yeah.
like the next Hans Zimmer, John Williams, whatever you want to say.
Them coming back to do
Incredibles.
music would also work, I think.
Yeah, no, I
Even if it's
think
not Ludwig.
Michael
I think
Giacchino
John Williams
excels in replicating styles exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Incredibles is a big thing of that for me. Like his range is stellar, but he does a great job in bringing like feeling together. So I feel like if they brought Michael Giacchino for more Mandalorian, it almost feel like he was almost borrowing too much from like trying to combine John Williams and Ludwig. You you almost have to have Ludwig for Ludwig style music.
I agree. And that's kind of how I felt when they were doing the kind of spin-offs like Mando and Rogue One and Solo and everything without John Williams. And it's honestly crazy to say that John Williams is not retiring. He is doing the next couple of new Star Wars projects coming out, which is
amazing.
Which is
I
crazy to think
interpreted
about, by the way.
his statement as being a soft retirement. He'll write the music. He's not going to be the one orchestrating it necessarily.
You say that now, but this was also the same guy who was like, all right, I'm out, I'm done. And then they announced like, hey, we're doing a bunch of these stuff. And he's like, okay, wait, no, hang on. You're making more Star Wars movies. Okay, well, not without me. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, no, I in this episode too, I loved some of the throwback stuff because there were the trains on Coruscant that we haven't seen since Clone Wars. There was the Ralph McQuarrie droid that was like the taxi droid, which was awesome to see live action.
We got a little bit of this at the beginning of the Bad Batch too. This week, just being in that bar and like the guys they were meeting with that had those like cool helmet things.
Yeah.
Any little thing like that where we get some extra detail in Star Wars that feels like there's more details behind it is super cool to me. And this week, The Mandalorian was just full of that.
Yes.
I don't know if they are the same, but the bad guys we meet at the very beginning of this week's episode of the Bad Batch felt a lot like our like helmet design wise. Remember the train episode with Boba and Asajj?
Yeah.
Where they're fighting off people that are trying to take the train. We get the entire that helmet design reminded me a lot of the guard helmets for the ones that were like transporting the prisoner.
I
where they had the extra fin thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's not the same because it's like theirs was organically part of their face.
Yeah. Like also this episode they had like the echo visor of like a straight line.
Yeah.
Where in that episode they were kind of more, I almost got like a tribal samurai vibe from them with like viper eyes.
But it was very much like it reminded me a little bit of that design wise. I was kind of like,
a little bit.
I could see that being like a renegade faction kind of thing, maybe.
Also, I know we probably don't want to talk about Mandalorian too much, but it felt very Andor this week. to me.
Yes, it did.
The middle
And
did,
that's
for
something
sure.
we
Oh, yeah.
definitely talked about.
Yes, the middle bit that wasn't like the actual The Mandalorian part of the
yeah.
episode.
The 40 minutes of the middle bit.
Yeah.
There was the parts of where this guy that's talking to Dr. Pershing where he was like, oh, of the Empire, the New Republic, the Rebel Alliance, I
don't know the difference anymore.
I don't know the difference. I get mixed up with all of them. I was just like, that's just like Andor. Like I just
That's
got
the kind
so-
of guy that would be on Canto Bite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most likely. I also loved the fact that we got a small Blade Runner reference too. There were a couple of them. The jacket he's wearing looks very similar to the one that the main character wears in Blade Runner 2049, which was super, super cool. And Coruscant is very similar to that, to the city that we
Just
see in
on the topic of his jacket, the soft part costumes in this episode were all phenomenal.
Oh,
The
yeah.
visual effects were amazing.
Yeah.
Like Coruscant has continuously looked
Yeah,
stunning.
it gets better and better every time we see it.
Like I'm also really happy that we saw Coruscant at night for this, as opposed to
Yeah.
Coruscant today. Like it really let the visual
Mhm.
effects shine in how modern shaders are, and we really got to see the absolute beauty that it is.
Yeah, it was so pretty. And I know they'll probably never do this, but I would love for them to just take a select few shots from The Mandalorian and break down, like where they kind of do the rollback of the VFX and show what was physical.
Yeah, so you see like the
what was
primer
CG.
gray and then the
Yeah. And then
behind the
talk about,
scenes.
hey, this was a maquette or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. Like last week, that big crab thing, the main buyer was practical.
Yeah,
which surprised the hell out of me.
I read entirely CGI, and then I saw it was practical, and I lost my mind.
Yep, that's so cool that they're doing stuff like that.
They already turned that that whole thing into a Lego set already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they're on top of it. So my guess is like every week that we have a new episode, we'll end up getting like a new Mandalorian Lego set.
Well, they're doing that.
We've had 3 Lego sets under the Mandalorian banner be announced number wise.
Yes.
So we know there's only 3 sets, which are the Spider set, the Fang Fighter, and then the now Bo-Katan ship versus TIE Interceptor. Everything else, which also I think we've gotten everything we've ever seen from the trailers so far.
Okay, so we've not gotten Order 66.
Not the droid scene.
We've not got the droid scene,
okay.
and we've not got the Mandalorians coming out of the ship, and then
we've gotten a lot. We've gotten a lot of it.
We're through almost all the trailer and teaser.
And Lego set wise, we're done. Like there are no more Lego sets that are within the release of at least summer 2023.
Don't sound too excited, man. I love Lego. Jeez.
No, I love Lego. I'm just saying like what Lego has had access to, similar to when Grogu first was released to the public eye. Everything Legos had access to make sets for is done.
Yep.
So whatever comes next is brand new, which I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, because honestly, I've been waiting for a new Lego Max rebuild just to be made, and it's only a matter of time.
Hey, there's a UCS sail barge coming out like later this year. I think.
Oh, I know.
He's getting it.
Oh, I know. But yeah, that and honestly, I did enjoy going back to Coruscant, and we kind of got more world building for the episode and everything. It was weird to jump from this to where they're on the run to Dr. Pershing telling a Mon Calamari it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where it goes next week. My guess is they'll go to Navarro because they'll get contacted by Grief Karg and be like, "Hey, the pirates are back. We need your help." And then they go there, and then maybe that's where the covert of the Mandalorians will find their home, and then they'll be on Navarro.
Maybe
Maybe.
top of the droid
I'm
bar.
guessing. Is just a theory. And for the droids, I don't know where that's going to take place. I don't know where the droid scenes are going to take place. I think Hunter knows, maybe.
I don't know where it's going to take place, but I just want to see it.
Hey, Hunter, how would you react to that droid sequence from the Mandalorian like trailers being the Ancellan's back room, where they have all those droids in like either mostly or not like semi-functioning order, and then they have battle droids fighting pirates and Mandalorians?
That would be sick. So sick.
That could be like that. That could be kind of poetic because it would be like the episode in the Clone Wars of where R2 fixes the.
Yeah. Not just that. It's also it would tie back into Din being rescued from a B2.
Yeah. True.
I know we only saw B1s in that trailer, but I wouldn't be surprised wherever there's B1s that someone's got a B2 stashed away in the back.
Yep.
Can we also please get a live live recording of Hunter reacting to the droids? I think that would be really, really, really funny.
I'm a big proponent for like Hunter campfire side droid talks.
Well, crazy enough because we are going to be doing that.
A new segment called
yes. Hunter and I were just talking about the other day, and we're also talking to other droid builders in the community, and we are going to definitely do that because there is a lot of love for droids, and there's a lot of fascinating things about it. And Hunter is one of those people that has that obsession that deserves to, have a platform and talk about it. So
I'm going to want to build R2X2 so much more.
Well, Hunter inspired me to continue my work on my scale model of BD1 because I haven't touched that in a bit. So yeah, I know because that thing's been sitting there.
Hunter's inspired me to 3D print a BD1 with the lights and everything.
Hunter's inspired me to build an entire R2 unit from the ground up. R2X2, the green and white astromech from Solo: A Star Wars Story and Star Wars: A New Hope.
There you go. Hunter's just inspiring. It just sounds like he's inspiring.
Very good point.
There you go. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, we love just talking about Star Wars every week, and we want to be doing it if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much. You can find us on Instagram at Star Wars Stuff Podcast, Twitter at Stuff Pod. You can also go to our TikTok, search Star Wars Stuff Podcast. We also have our own Gmail, Star Wars Stuff Podcast, gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, Star Wars Stuff Group, Star Wars Stuff Podcast page. Anything that has Star Wars stuff, most likely it's going to be us. You can also find our friends J Guy Hunter Kenobin around and cloning around on Instagram and all other platforms. Don't forget the underscores; those are very important.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
there's
I know.
a lot, especially for Hunter.
Yes, Jag under I got it here. I'm sorry, Josh. I still haven't added you to the
I'm so absolutely hurt. Words can't quantify my pain.
I'm sorry.
Colin.
But this is where you can find them, and you can find Josh cloning _around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can find me wherever Lego sets are sold.
Excellent. There you go. That's okay. With that being said, from all of us, may the force be with you always.